ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all.
Hello, all you beautiful people. Wednesday night, we had to push it back. Ooh la la. We had to push it back an extra half an hour tonight. We had some things going on. We'll see whether this is the new regular time. But either way, we want to welcome you to the special team show. Three brothers plus one. It seems like we've adopted a new brother. So we're gonna call him. Either way, we're gonna bring Luke along with us. He's the brethren. We're having a lot of fun with him. He's a friend of the family. We're having a lot of fun with him, and so glad he can join us. And we understand that he's got some things going on, busy life and stuff like that, so it can't always be there. But when he can, he's going to show up. So thank you, Luke, for being here. And yeah, so otherwise, strap the helmets on, lads. Let's talk some football.
Hell yeah, let's get it.
Hell yeah. All right. I feel like I do this every week where we say week 13 in the books and go around the horn. We'll start with Rob tonight. Rob, what'd you think? Week 13.
There's still teams that I don't know what they're doing.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can't keep saying that shit. Anyway, keep going.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I wanted someone come right at the gate at you.
So, anyways, here's the thing. We were talking about. I'll just speak personally about the Lions. We were talking about how the Lions, it's their division to lose. There's some half decent football being played in the NFC North right now. And if the Lions end up dropping a couple division games here, Minnesota could leapfrog them pretty quick. So we do have to be careful. And right now the Lions are hot, cold. It seems like they alternate a bit. So I want to see us finish out strong.
It'd be really easy to fall to Reds right now, but I feel like either Luke or I could take a good shot at those comments. So, Luke, you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Whatever you want, man. I can go.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead. What do you got? Week 13.
As far as like week 13 went, my favorite games actually were the Thursday nighter and the Monday nighter. I watched with the kids too.
That's cool.
It sucks they're so late, but I mean the last 2 minutes of each game and each half is just wild. It's like they're 15 minutes long to get 2 minutes into the books, and it's just. Sometimes I wonder why teams just don't play like that the whole game. Like they really care about every yard where, it seems like it's not so much. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Anyways, they were cool games. They were real cool games. As much as I don't want to see Dallas win, they had you know what? They're on a 4-game winning streak, and you'll see with my picks later. And you know what? Until they get challenged, though, they're going to keep winning in that schedule. And I hate to say it like that, but.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're crushing teams. They're putting points up. The Lions and the Eagles have actually pretty similar records when it comes to how much they score and get scored against. And I think the clear-cut team in the NFC actually at first, in my opinion, is the Niners, and especially after that game. I didn't have a sad Eagle face to go behind me.
Yeah, no sad Eagle faces. I got a really cool one. Somebody did an AI generated Brock Purdy standing on an eagle, and it's really cool. And I obviously I didn't share it at all to anybody, but I saw it and I was like, man, this is really cool. I'll share it with you later on, just like good fun. But
the bird was pretty good too. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah, bird hunting is a thing, and we'll continue that this week. I'm going to go next because I'm going to definitely address what Rob said, because and not because it's Rob and I fight, but there. I think what you're talking about, I didn't even want to talk about the NFC North. As a matter of fact, I knew that if I was going to talk about the NFC North, it wasn't going to be about the Detroit Lions. It wasn't going to be about the Minnesota Vikings. The hottest team in the NFC North right now is the Green Bay Packers, and they are playing fucking ball right now. And if this team keeps up, and we'll see, we're going to be looking at these playoff standings later on. If this team keeps playing the way they are, they have the schedule that favors them right now, and they have the record. They're pretty much, if they can keep playing the same kind of ball, they're trouble right now. So to keep an eye on the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, we saw some. I think we saw some things at the top of the NFC. I think it is where it is. The AFC, I think the biggest question in my head right now is what the hell's going on in Kansas City. There's some real concerns there in Kansas City as far as I'm concerned. The problem is that the other three teams in the AFC West are shit. So they can probably just last. I mean, although Denver's making a run right now too. They just dropped one, but I don't know. Kansas City could be in trouble. So that's my week 13. What do you got, Rich?
Yeah, so week 13 was pretty exciting. There's a lot of close games. I think my biggest takeaway, and I hate to admit it, is I think Dak Prescott's the best quarterback in the league right now.
Fuck off.
Are you listen to this? The last 6 weeks,
get out of here.
He's thrown 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's been lights out.
Dak is killing it.
Can somebody pull up the quarterback standings? Because it's Brock Purdy number 1 all the way down the fucking board.
Listen,
like in every category, he's number 1.
Listen, Brock Purdy's great. I think he's probably number 2 right now. Right now, Rick.
Fucking people, man.
Brock Purdy gets a lot of touchdowns from Debo yak yards, but anyways, we won't talk about that.
Dak gets a lot from CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, well, but he doesn't.
Dak tossing up prayers.
Yeah, but, I mean,
like
he's only thrown 2 interceptions.
You got Cooks
he's
and
only
Lamb's
thrown 2
deep,
interceptions.
you're gonna catch it. Like
that's
yeah.
All I'm saying is he's only thrown 2 interceptions. He's got a near perfect rating in the last 6 games. It's insane how well he's playing. I hate to admit it because I hate Dak Prescott. Anyways, other things, very close games. Titans, very tight. That was a close one. Lions barely squeak out a win. Falcons, Jets was very close. Broncos, Texans, and obviously Jaguars, Bengals. They were all close games. Panthers almost even squeaked out a win. I still think the Niners are the best team in the league now. And I think we're going to see the 49ers against the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl, if I had to predict right now. So anyways, week 13, pretty exciting. Dak's pretty good.
Dak,
that's all I'm saying.
His last 4 games has played the Panthers, the Giants.
Do it, Luke.
Seahawks.
And the Seahawks. He's going to play good. And he's probably going to post another 30 points this weekend.
Yeah, against the Eagles? Yeah.
They let a lot of scores against them, man. They score on a lot. And the last game is a high scoring game. And Dak, to your point, throws a hell of a lot of touchdowns. I wouldn't take that from him. But he did have some targets there. The one in the eliminated Panthers might have been a good game for him.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're gonna compare Dak and Purdy, like Purdy threw 1 TD, 1 in, 21 for 30 against the Seahawks. The next week, Dak went 29 for 41, 3 TDs, 300 yards. I don't know. I'm just saying. He's looking
What did Dak do against the 49ers? And what did Purdy do against the Cowboys?
I'm saying the last 6 weeks. That's all I'm saying.
Holy
I said
fuck.
in the last 6 weeks, Dak Prescott is the best looking quarterback.
It's amazing. Where was I? What was I watching? I was watching it somewhere. Oh, it was the McAfee show, and he was in the ESPN studio, which that's a whole different thing. I forget what his name is. The guy that came on, he said, they were talking about the college football playoff and how that whole shit show went down Depending on whether or not any of you follow it. I know Luke is definitely getting closer to following it. I know Rob follows it from time to time. Reggie, I don't know if you are aware, but basically, humans,
FSU.
what we will do is we will always find whatever we want or whatever we need to prove the point that we're looking to prove.
Sure.
And in this case, only going back 6 weeks is the fucking perfect example of doing that. Let's just go back 6 weeks rather than doing all 13 of them. And like,
I'm
it's
saying
just
in
like
the last 6 weeks,
holy
he's the best
fuck.
quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I think you said he's the best quarterback in the league right now, is what you said.
In the last 6 weeks, exactly what I said. Yeah.
Oh, we
listen,
gotta move
I'll say
on
this, Rick.
before
I
I
think
fucking
Brock
lose my
Purdy's the
mind.
best quarterback since his bye. So when was your bye? They just lost 3 games.
Yeah.
They had the bye, right? And since he's come
Even-
back, and I've watched the games, like
So
Even
the
if you
kid
look at
is-
him during
the
those
kid is
losses,
dialed
he
in.
wasn't terrible.
So I'm just
No.
pulling up the stats, anyways, if you want them. Dak's ahead in yards. Completion percentage is 70.1. Purdy's 70.2.
Okay.
Dak's 26
Pretty
for
close.
6. Purdy's 23 for 6. QB rating, Purdy's
close.
116. Dak's 108. Like, they're very close.
116 is not close to 108.
Yeah, there's like
And
yards
hey.
per attempt. There's like yards per attempt. There's
I'm-
so many other
I mean,
like
we could go through all of it for sure, but like, if you're saying
Exactly.
oh, Purdy's
Again,
number one
my
in
point.
everything,
But
Dak's beating him in
again,
a lot of those.
but
So
there was one of
just,
them.
Just a heads up. here,
Yards.
yards per attempt. Brock Purdy
TDs.
9.6. Dak Prescott 7.9.
Holy
Dak's
shit.
actually throwing less.
That's
per-
what I was looking at with Hurts last week. Hurts was way behind Brock, man. Like Brock's dialed in.
Somebody said the other day that I need to start remembering these people. I can't believe we spent this much time on this, but either way, where they're talking about the MVP and they said, Brock is, what did he say? He said Dak is, never mind. Either way, it turned out that you're ridiculous if you don't think currently right now, Brock Purdy is the MVP of the league. The only other person that could actually challenge is Tyreek.
Isn't the MVP of the league?
Is Tyreek. No, you said, oh, yeah, you're right.
Did I say he's not the MVP?
Nope,
of the
you
league?
said Dak Prescott is the best
been the
quarterback in the last
best
6 weeks.
quarterback in the
Last 6
We were
weeks.
talking
Last 6 weeks.
Yeah, I might have to dispute an MVP of the league, but best quarterback, I would go with Purdy today.
Okay. All right, moving on.
How's
I'm
big Brock's cock tasting over there, Rick?
What? You know what's funny is I rarely hold on. You know what's funny is I rarely ever do this. I would rarely ever do this until you use somebody like Dak Prescott. You could have said Tyreek Hill. You could have said best offensive player. You could have said all these things.
I hate Dak Prescott.
Oh,
I know
don't
you
think
do.
Reg is that far off with saying Dak Prescott, though, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's close.
He's the number 2 quarterback in the league statistically.
I think that
Dak
you
is.
hate Dak Prescott so damn much that you just can't accept that he's right there with him.
Anyways, we'll move on. Well,
Well,
It's
hey, let's
fine.
say Dak has a good game and Purdy has a bad game. There's your swap right there.
Yeah, and that's all anybody ever needs, because that will be the point. What I'm saying is the consistent football that's been played this year has been better football by Brock Purdy. That's it. That's what I'm saying. When you compare Dak Prescott over the entire season to Brock Purdy, the better quarterback all season long, even during a 3-game loss, 3 games that they lost, Brock Purdy still played better quarterback play. He still had better quarterback play than Dak Prescott. So we can make up whatever we want. We could say the last six games. We could do whatever we want here. But I'm just telling you that the more consistent quarterback play out of everybody has been Brock Purdy. It's the narrative that goes around. Everybody's trying to find a way to say that Brock Purdy is a system quarterback. He's this, he's that. And I try to stay quiet about it. But sometimes when we say stupid shit like Dak Prescott, I have a hard time with it.
Yeah, but
Now,
okay. I'm just curious, other than the 49ers game, what game has Dak played that's been terrible?
I didn't come prepared for this, Reg.
Okay,
But it sounds like you did. So let me go back and
looking
look.
at it right now. And
Like,
he threw three of his 6 ints against the 49ers. So, I mean, like, he's played pretty consistent since then.
He chucked some ints against the Eagles too, even though the Eagles
I'm
chucked
looking
them
at
back. But
FanDuel's odds right now. FanDuel has Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy at plus 300 as an MVP.
Anyways, we'll move on.
There you
all
go.
resolved.
There you go. It's
I'm
all about
just
it's all
saying,
about it's all about fucking Vegas now. Like holy Jesus Christ. Anyway,
And do it, solved it.
move on. Like
You are
fuck.
salty, man. Holy.
Well, I wasn't salty until we started this. Like I don't
But it's like-
understand. I don't even talk. I haven't once since we started doing this show. I haven't once done this. Not talked about Brock Purdy at all. You can go
But
back and look
anytime
through
someone
every
brings
one of
up
the shows.
Niners, you just go right off the handle. It seems
I actually
like.
don't.
It's-
I haven't.
Let's
All right.
move on.
All right. Well, anyways, Vegas seems to think that they're neck and neck, and Vegas is pretty good at things. So I don't know.
Mike's saying Tyreek Hill's the MVP. Let's settle it. That.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck the quarterbacks.
right.
Yeah, fuck the QBs, man.
Fuck
Jason
the
Kelce.
QBs. Okay. Recap week 13. So Seattle 35, Dallas 41. Dallas we took four of them across the board here. So not too surprising, I didn't think. I was actually impressed that Seattle did as well as they did. Like Luke said, pretty solid game. As far as our parlays, Reg, if you want to talk about yours.
Very close. I was off by 4 yards. I took the
Nice, Reg.
alternate receiving yards on Brandon Cooks to be 50 plus. His over under was also 46.5. So I would have taken the over there. I was going to lose no matter what. So, but it was pretty damn close.
Yeah, good man.
Nice. Okay, Rob.
I just want to mention that there was a Tim Boyle MVP conversation in the chat. Anyways, Dak Prescott. I believe Dak got what did he get? He got 21 yards rushing, I believe. Seattle did cover the spread there, and Michael Gallup was absent. He still played, but nobody saw him. Didn't get involved in anything. So
Sort of
that cooked it. You know that.
Kind of broke it down for you. Yep. For mine, I lost out on the total turnovers. I thought that there was going to be several turnovers in this game, and there wasn't. And I put all my eggs in the basket for the Dallas defensive touchdown. They did get the turnover, but unfortunately didn't score. So I hit on the total score being over 47.5, and Geno Smith obviously tossed his interception. So that was that. Follow our parlays for all you like, but for the most part, we don't win. Reg and I think, scored ones, and yeah, it was what it was. Okay, rundown for the week. So Miami, we took Miami across the board. Miami in town visiting Washington, 45-15. The Colts took out the Titans, 31-28. Reg went in with a lock on the Titans here, and so he lost big time on that one. The other three of us took the Colts, and yeah, he's like Reg has said, he's been playing tight on his locks, so he's trying to keep it interesting, which I appreciate.
Colts are hot.
And that was very close, that game.
Mhm.
They missed a late field goal because their punter got ran into when they blocked a punt, and he was no longer the holder, and Tannehill had to come out and hold, and they messed it up. And anyways, yeah, it was very, very close. So
Yeah. Carolina 18, Tampa Bay 21. Another battle of the South there. We took Tampa across the board. I'm surprised that it was as close as it was. Carolina is currently the only team mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Atlanta 13, the Jets 8. The Jets aren't far away from being mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
I'm surprised
I took them
Patriots
here.
aren't.
Yeah, the Patriots are close too. I took the Jets here. I was hoping to scoop a win on the lads. I figured that they might be able to pull off in Atlanta, but no.
Is that a safety and 2 field goals as well? I think that was right. I'm pretty sure they
Yeah,
still
there was
don't
a
have
safety.
touchdown.
Yeah, there was a safety. It was 2-0 at one point.
It wasn't pretty either way.
Yeah.
Atlanta's like that at the top of their division too. It's just wild, man. They're so bad.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible division. Arizona 24, Pittsburgh 10. Unfortunately, Kenny Pickett, who had a great game last week, over 400 yards passing, he went down. So I think they said 2 to 4 weeks on Pickett. So hopefully we'll see him
Tough
come
loss.
back. And yeah, tough loss there. Hopefully they'll see him come back and he can get them some stuff, get them back in the run. The Chargers 6. These two teams. I mean, Chargers 6, New England 0. We all took the Chargers. I locked in at the Chargers. I don't even know what to say to this. Like, how both of these coaches don't get fired, I don't even understand. Like, it's just a whatever.
It was 0-0, but like half. Or
it was brutal. Just absolutely.
It
It was a
Awful.
barn burner, man.
How do two professional? And the worst
yeah.
part is that if you thought that they were the greatest defenses in the league, you'd be like, man, that was awesome. But it's not even like that.
It was
It's just that
bad.
their offenses
Yeah.
are so bad that they just can't score.
Yeah,
So
it was 6-0, and I was like, holy shit, the Patriots might win this game on the last drive. And then it was like, wait a second. Of course they won't win this fucking game. Like, this is terrible. So
yeah.
hard to believe.
Yeah. Tough one in
Ooh, stinger.
tough one in
We missed
Houston,
Detroit,
Denver
right?
7. Oh, did we? I just decided to skip it. Detroit 33, New Orleans 28. We took Detroit. The three of us took Detroit. Luke with New Orleans, so he lost on the lone wolf
came
there. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Detroit let them back in the game. I actually thought that they were going to lose this game
Detroit was up 21-0 with
in the first 7.5 minutes.
I think it was the first 4 minutes.
No, I think it was closer to 7. It was just under half the first quarter.
Oh, really? I thought I looked and there was over
a-
10 minutes on the clock.
Yeah,
I think it said
Yeah,
8. It was like
New
8:20
Orleans
or something like that.
Yeah, it's 21
Yeah.
pretty quick, and to lose that New
Yeah.
Orleans, that actually hurts them in that division. It's hard to believe Tampa Bay's
Yeah.
ahead of them.
Yeah, it was 8:15. That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so where was I here? Denver, Houston. Yeah.
Houston.
Denver in town visiting Houston. Tight game here. Houston, we took Houston across the board. Snapped Denver's win streak that they were on there. So Denver could be legit. We'll see. Houston seems like they're a legit team. Cleveland
It was down to the
19.
last play too, right? Russ threw an
was, yeah.
interception, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, in the end zone. Yeah. Yeah.
that was a wild.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Cleveland 19, Rams 36. Big win on the Rams side. Cleveland spiraling out of control at this point. Rob with the lone wolf and lost that one. Kansas City goes into Green Bay. Patty Mahomes' first game at Lambeau, and he gets the L. So Green Bay's playing some solid football right now.
Tay couldn't give them the win. Unbelievable.
Well,
This is a fun one to watch too, man. This was a good.
it was a good game. Yeah, it was a good
Enjoyed
game.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, late
Cincinnati-
Cincinnati. It was cold. You could tell it was wild there, man. It was a cool game. Looked rough.
Yeah, for sure.
That's tough,
Yeah,
tough
yeah. It
weather
had
to
that.
play
It had that
in.
mystique to it. Yeah, it had that mystique to it for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Good call there.
Cincinnati 34, Jacksonville 31. Okay, so we took Jacksonville across the board. I guess we all felt like Burrow out. It was trouble. And Jacksonville, a couple of weeks ago, I felt like Jacksonville wasn't as strong as we thought they were, and they kind of fell flat here. So we'll see kind of what happens with them. Trevor Lawrence out now.
And Christian
so-
Kirk.
Big news, anyways.
and yeah, Christian Kirk out as well. So Jacksonville could be in some trouble. And then Niners in Philadelphia, we split it 50-50, and the Niners got that one. So
Yeah, the Niners. It's funny, they went into half on that game, and I was thinking, this looks like the
No way.
last 6 Eagles games. Like they'll pull it out. And then
No way.
the Niners came out and just started pumping them, and I was like, I guess they won't. Like,
yeah,
It just fell apart.
the only thing I really wanted to address on that game was the I do want to talk about the Dre Greenlaw Big Dom talk. The tackle, if you really look at it, they're in bounds when it happens. His feet are on the ground the entire time. They actually never leave the ground. The problem is that Dre Greenlaw keeps putting himself in a position like this all the time. I love the way he plays, and regardless of whether or not this was a bad tackle, or some people say it was because of the whistle, when the whistle was blown, things like that. We can't have him costing us 15 yards in critical moments of games. And so and we needed him on the field. If Philly had started a comeback, Drake Greenlaw's probably our surest tackler out there. And yeah, it can't happen. This can't happen. Right. So, and I've said in the past where Drake Greenlaw concerns me sometimes with his aggressive style. And although that's what makes him who he is, there's kind of like that fine line that he has to kind of teeter on. And going into the playoffs, you can't give up these 15 yards on these penalties. So hopefully we don't see any more of that.
Oh, sorry to jump in. I thought you were done there.
No, it's good.
I was just going to ask, didn't you have that issue? I might be wrong here. Back when Navarro Bowman was there, and who else was there?
Well, Patrick Willis was there when Navarro
And
Bowman
Patrick
was there.
Willis. Did you not have an issue with a defensive player getting a lot of stupid penalties, or they had a bad year or two?
It's one of our safeties, I think. He was Goldston was Deshaun Goldston was he was a little free he'd leave the air, but they've since then they've killed it with the penalty, right? Like the defenseless receiver, stuff like that. So it's kind of knocked down that behavior. But the problem with Greenlaw is if you watch any of his tackles, he's pretty much throwing a fist every time he goes in. Almost every time there's a fist being thrown. He's throwing a fist at the ball, which is fine. I get knock the ball out, all that kind of stuff. But it always seems like there's an extra part to his tackle. It's never just a tackle, right? There's something extra, and that's what I'm worried about that people are going to get. Yeah. And I do your right tackle, was it Logan Thompson? Logan, why can't I think of his name?
Who, me?
Right tackle? No, Philadelphia's right tackle.
Oh.
Logan Thompson, Lannon,
Logan Thomas was one.
Thomas.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah.
If
you watch, well, he's your right tackle. If you watch, he's literally, there's pretty much a false start almost every play.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And I noticed it during the game, and I didn't even know that this was an actual thing that apparently people complain about a lot. But then it was like all over the internet afterwards. I'm like, because I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? This guy's offside. He is false starting every play.
Time.
And it's obvious too. It's not like
right?
it's like a holy moly, man. So anyway.
There was
Okay.
one week where they were calling it out every play. The announcers were just
There
like,
wasn't.
this is
What is
insane.
happening?
Every play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway. Okay. Any other comments about week 13 recap from anybody before we move on?
I just want to say that if anybody does want to see something a little more on the gnarly side, during the Lions game, Alvin Kamara got tackled out of bounds, and during that tackle, he happened to run into a sideline official and dislocate his knee and break his tibular fibula. So it's out there if you're looking for something to kind of get squeamish over. But
Watched it live. You don't want to watch it.
no,
Yeah, watched it live. It was
Watch it
it's
live.
there.
There's no need. Yep. No need to watch
Kamara
that.
looked
thing
down at the
ever
guy
again.
and he was gonna help him.
He just
up, and
walked
was just
away.
like-
He just
he was
walked away.
"Oh,
He's like,
fuck,
no."
I can't help
Yeah.
that.
No,
Yeah,
that
I can't
everybody just
help
jumped
that.
in, eh?
No, yeah, no. Sorry about that. Woo.
yeah, that
Speaking
guy,
of-
that
You know where the
he was
football
just like,
game today and break your leg.
Yeah.
That was probably a
Sorry,
volunteer too. Like,
Speaking of personal fouls and stuff, did you see the CJ Stroud one where he got pushed? It was right near the end. It was the end of the play, and I think it was a false start or something like that. And the lineman just kind of like shoved him, and then Stroud got in his face, and then the lineman shoved him more, and they got 15 yards out of it. And Stroud's just like laughing, like it's stupid shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
like what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
like-
do remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
Stroud was John.
how do you
hard,
guys
right?
not
He was,
know?
He was like trying to edge him on. Yeah.
Yeah,
19
yeah.
years
Oh,
old.
Stroud definitely like he made it happen, and it's just like
The worst part is you know damn well that if you get in the face of a quarterback like that, you're getting the penalty.
Yeah.
You're drawing the penalty, and they all know it, but they do it. And I understand, adrenaline gets in play, and you get caught up in the heat of the
you're
moment
hyped
and
up.
all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to January football, 15 yards can play a major, like the line between
make a
defeat
difference in
and
the game.
win, it's massive, right? So you've got to be careful with that kind of stuff. So okay, so
My bad.
on
It's
to the
CJ's 22. My bad. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rick. Yeah.
no,
I said
that's
CJ was
okay.
19.
No.
I don't know why I said that. Yeah, he's 22.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I mean, when you're 19 or 22, you're still doing that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the pick'ems
shit.
following along here. So Reg and Luke tied at 8. Rob came up with 9, and I ended up with 10. Which of course, if we can't really throw Luke's in there because he hasn't been here for every week, so that would be obviously unfair to him. But right now, Reg and I are tied for first place with Rob 10 games back. So
you know what? I think Luke might, like, if we wanted to in the future, we could look at what his average is over the weeks that he's played, right? And it's to kind of put it up
Over
there.
the
But I
last
think he's
6
sitting somewhere
weeks?
around 10 games, like 10 games win per week.
Well, Luke.
well,
had a
I mean,
win.
we've only tracked 2. I think we've only tracked 2. I think so. Yeah,
I
he's
didn't do the
definitely
one
had
week,
a good week.
The story here is
This-
I've never not been in first place, and now I'm concerned that I might lose my throne. Not to Rob, obviously. Like, I'm never concerned that Rob's catching up, but Rick has done a great job catching up here. So
It's Lane Johnson, by the way, in Philly.
Lane
That's
or
what I was
Lane?
looking
Yeah,
for.
wasn't
Lane
it?
Johnson.
Yeah.
It's Lane
It
Johnson.
wasn't Lane.
Yeah,
tackle.
you know what yeah, he's your right tackle. The trick to pick'ems and this kind of stuff is you take some early shots early on in the season. You're like, oh, you try to take, and then after that, you just got to kind of fall in line and just take, one little shot. You have to chip away over time. You can't get it all back at once, right? Like I need you to bomb a week and me have a good week. So here we are, and we're tied, and lots of
I
football
think
left.
I saw that
Well,
you
maybe
took
not
a
lots.
shot this week that I don't know about this week. There's one.
Yeah,
little shot
yeah,
I
we'll
think you
see.
took.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, there sure is. Yep. So okay. Yeah. A little bit tough to see. I don't know if you lads can see that okay or not, but so we wanted to talk. We talked about wanting to talk the NFL playoff pictures. So if you look on the left hand side of the screen here, lads, we've got the AFC 1 through 7. So 7 teams make it. I'm pretty sure everybody understands that. You've got your division leaders and then 3 wild cards. The number 1 overall gets that only bye week. So that changed a couple of years ago. And then I didn't include all of the teams technically in the hunt, but I tried to stay with the ones that were closest to making it in. So that's who we've got there. Does that flip on me? What the hell's going on there? It's Texans. Oh no, it's set. Never mind. I mixed that
It
up.
looks good.
Okay, so what are your thoughts here? AFC.
I
Go
think
ahead, Rob.
that Steelers are going to get bounced out of the
Okay.
the playoff picture that we're looking at here. We've got Dolphins, Ravens, Chiefs, Jaguars, and then the 3 wild cards currently are Steelers, Colts, and Browns. I think the Steelers get bounced out, and I think the Texans are going to make a good push. Stroud's playing really well. He's playing fantastic football, and I think that's what you're looking at here. The injury to Trevor Lawrence, that's going to be impactful as well, but I don't think it's going to be enough to sink the Jaguars out of at least a wild card.
Cool.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is that I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago we were talking about the AFC and what we thought our predictions would be, and we were saying, well, shit, there might be 3 teams from the AFC North making it, and it's now looking like potentially 3
One.
teams from the AFC South might make it.
A 180 on that old
Yeah, a full
compass.
180 because I think we were kind of like, you got Jags, Texans, and then probably north kind of thing. But there might be the Colts, Jags, and Texans at the end here. So that's quite the division that the South has turned into, considering, we got a rookie
powerhouse,
quarterback.
someone said.
We've got Gardner Minshew, right? So I'm I'm shocked that it's turned out this way. I didn't think the Colts would make this good of a run. I thought the Texans would be in it. I thought the Jags would be in it, but the South has definitely turned it around, and the North continues to like. I don't know. The Steelers and Browns are kind of just like, I don't know. I hate picking
They're
them.
sputtering.
It's just, yeah, they're not great, and it's just, yeah, and the Broncos may sneak in too, which is crazy. I think the Bills are gone. Yeah, the AFC is way more exciting than the NFC for sure. So,
Yep. What do you think, Luke?
I think the Ravens take it still. I don't really. The Dolphins are a powerhouse offensively, but they've been slapped around a couple times. The Chiefs should win their division all day. AFC South, yeah, it's anybody's game right now. And anybody that doesn't have 8 wins right now, every game's do or die, right? Like every game's a win, and like to think that the Bills are actually 6-6 in that division is wild. And who would have thought the Dolphins really did play the way they do? I'm impressed. I'm happy for people that are Dolphins fans. The Bills, on the other hand, they gotta go on a winning streak right now. I believe the Colts are on a 4-game winning streak right now. No one's really talking about like there's sneakers like that, right? And if they can keep that momentum, damn, it's hard to believe the Texans 7-5 are on the outside looking in the way they've been playing. So I think to Reg's point, I think the Steelers are in trouble. I think the Browns may be in trouble, and I think they're going to be challenged by the Texans and the Bills. And you know what? Don't count the Bengals out either.
yeah, Colts are our 4th straight as well, like you said.
Yeah.
Are they? Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna touch on the Bills too. Is I kept talking about their strength of their schedule the last couple of weeks. So they do have the Chiefs. I know that the Chiefs haven't looked great, but then they've got Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. So they could potentially be dropping 2 or 3 games in the next 5. So, they're not looking great. So.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these team schedules, and they most of them seem to have relatively favorable schedules. I do still think that Houston, I think the Jacksonville's going to find their way out of the lead in the AFC South. Houston will overtake them. I think Houston's going to be the team that will take that position. I don't think the Steelers are going to slide as much as maybe we thought they were. Like they're not going to overtake the Ravens. I think the Ravens will leap the Dolphins. The Dolphins tend to have, like Luke said, more of a chance to lose on any given week. They look fantastic, and then all of a sudden they don't look so fantastic. So, I think that the Broncos might sneak in. You might see the Browns slide out, but yeah, I guess we'll see. It all depends on what happens in that Jacksonville, Houston, Colts section, the AFC South. I think is going to dictate a lot of what happens here. So
a huge game against Jags Browns this weekend, right?
Massive.
We can talk about it when we get to it, but yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but neither team is in a position to win the game. Really?
No,
neither one's playing.
It's a must-win game, but both those teams are not looking good, right? So,
yeah. They're just hanging by a thread, both of them at this point. So. Yeah. Okay, the NFC playoff picture. We started with Rob, so we'll start with Luke here. Luke, what do you got for the NFC playoff picture?
I think today, you asked me today, obviously I'm gonna say the Niners are the best team in that division. I still put the Eagles at 2, and I shouldn't, but there's a good chance Dallas will be at 2 here by the end of the weekend. And to Reggie's point earlier, like Dallas pounds the shit out of teams, and the Eagles win games by 3 or 6. Didn't work this weekend. They couldn't beat the Jets either. It's weird. It's a weird team, but they're at the end of the day right now they're 10-2, so that's where they're at. That's enough. I'll drop that. The Falcons, I mean, they're in better than any other team in the NFC South. Maybe the Bucks sneak in. It'd be pretty funny if they did, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like I think what you're looking at right now, it might just reshuffle the order in the wild card section a little bit. I think that's what we're looking at right now.
Yep. Yeah. Reg, what do you got?
Yeah, so like you were saying with the South, like Bucks win and all of a sudden they're in, I think, this weekend, right? I don't know what their heads up
Bucks
play is.
win, and I think the Falcons actually have the game on them.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
they're
check that up
tied.
right
So I
now.
don't
So
know how
stay on
that
your point.
works, but
Yeah.
Stay
I
on your
guess it's
point there.
other
I'll look it up.
interdivision games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to think the Bucks, Saints, Falcons, they're every single game matters for them at this point. Lions should definitely make it, but like you said, if they can drop some games, Green, like you guys struggled with the Bears last time or lost to the Bears, I forget what it was. Right, Packers are looking hot. Packers could jump in there. It's crazy to think that three teams as bad as the Falcons, Bucks, and Saints are going to be in there, possibly bet more than like say the Packers, right? Like the Packers could get bumped out, and these shitty teams are going to make it. It's kind of like the NFC East 3-4 years ago, or whatever, when they were always just like 8-8 or 7-9 and making the playoffs and shit.
They're
Like,
horrible.
yeah, exactly. The Niners have a pretty favorable schedule too, other than they run into the Ravens on Christmas Day. So that'll be a big game. But I think the Niners basically win out other than that game. Or they could win out. I don't even know. That game is probably pretty close. Niners might just beat the hell out of them and show us that the Ravens aren't what we think they are. So I think the Niners are going to end as the number 1 seed, even though I saw something like the Eagles had like a 59% chance to end with the number 1 seed, but I'm not buying it. Yeah. I think
They've
you're
got,
getting
like, the
Eagles,
2 Giants
Cowboys,
games in-
Niners. Sorry?
Yeah, Arizona. Oh, I said the Eagles have like Giants twice in Arizona, and I think Seattle next week. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I like what you're
I think
saying.
the 4 top teams are Eagles, Niners, Cowboys, Packers currently.
Lions.
I don't know. Like the Lions have been very shaky. I think the Packers are looking very good in the last 2 games, and I'm kind of on the Packers train, and it's sad because fuck the Packers, but they're looking good.
So just to answer that previous question there, it's head to head, and then it's division, and then it would be common games.
Conference.
As long as there's only 2 teams. Once you get into 3 teams or more, it starts to shift things and gets a little bit more confusing. But and then after your common games, you go down to another one.
Cool.
Rob. Yeah.
For me, I think very easily you can see the Rams and Seahawks potentially sneak in, and Vikings Packers move it. I think like Luke said, you're going to see a lot of shuffling with the wild cards. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. We've already spoke on how the Packers are playing well. The Lions, which Lions team's going to show up? And I still think that the 2 teams at the top, the Eagles and Niners, are far and away the 2 best teams in the division, or sorry, in the conference, and possibly in the entire NFL. So I think what Reg's point, where the AFC is a lot more exciting, I think the better teams are in the NFC.
Yeah, I think the top of the NFC is the stronger, the more consistent, other than the South. It gets muddy. Like for me, the Falcons come out, the Bucks are going to go in the South. I think the Bucks take the South. I think the Vikings come out, and the Rams go in. So basically, my NFC playoff picture looks like, I'll just for the lack of, I'll say the 49ers at the top, Eagles. I don't know whether or not the Lions finish there, but they definitely finish in the playoffs. And then the Bucks, Cowboys, Packers, and Rams is how my NFC playoff picture looks.
Yeah, that looks very like the Packers' schedule is so favorable that winning
It
out
is.
is not a long shot.
Stretch.
Like
No, it's
I
not a
think
stretch.
exactly. Like the Lions is probably their toughest game. And like Rob just said, like what Lions team is going to show up? The Lions are so up and down. It's crazy. Like when they're on, they're on, and when they're
I
off, they're
think
off.
if their Lions are playing at their absolute best, I'm not saying that they can beat the Eagles or Niners, but I think they can at least hang. And but the Lions have to be playing at their 100% absolute best, I think,
Yeah, and
to
the
be able to
Niners
do that.
would have
I
to be
think that
playing
what
at
worries me about
50%.
I think what worries me about the Lions is that the Lions might have to score fucking 50 points, right? Like these
Mhm.
teams, I think they might put up 50 points on the Lions. I think that's
Yeah.
it would be my concern right now. The Lions games just seem they're fun to watch because everybody scores over 30 points. Everybody
Yeah.
does.
Like
So
the last 4 games, Chargers 38 points, Bears 26 points, Packers 29, Saints 28. Like
Well,
we were just
what I
talking about
can
how
tell
shitty
you,
the Chargers are and the
yeah,
Bears. I don't know.
yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
Niners would have to be playing very bad, and the Lions would have to be playing absolute top of their game in order for the Lions to
um,
hang with the Niners.
yeah. I'm not saying like the Lions hang with everybody else playing at the top of the game, but something I do want to add here is that the Lions Den is not happy with Aaron Glenn, our defensive coordinator, and we have started to uh, look to see, is it time to part ways with him? He's giving up a lot of very big
Well, that doesn't
plays,
look
and
great going into the playoffs.
Going to the
I
They
know
just
playoffs,
came
that's
out.
crazy.
They just came out of the playoff standings for me. If they start switching defensive coordinators now, like holy,
I'm just saying, like,
jeez.
Oh, late, isn't it?
this
Yeah.
this is something that could come arise. Now, how does the Lions brass feel about it? I think they probably take the same stance that you do. To keep the team together, get into the playoffs, and see if you can get a reset.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
bring in Rex Ryan to be an advisor or something. I don't know, something to help him out. Yeah, sexy or exy. Just so
Justin
that
Fields.
just so that everybody is aware, we have three teams in the NFC that are able to clinch playoff berths this weekend. Obviously, it's your Dallas, your Philadelphia, and San Francisco. The road is easiest for San Francisco right now to do it, mainly because the Eagles and the Cowboys play each other. So one of them for sure is out, and then they all need help. The Niners basically need a win and then a Green Bay or a Minnesota loss, and then they're in for sure. So they could punch their card this weekend. So that would
So can
be,
the Lions.
can they? Because I only have the
Yeah, if
three.
if
I'm
yeah,
missing.
because it's week 14, right? So if the Lions win, it might come down to playoff tiebreaker. Actually,
Yeah, I don't know. I only have the three. I set up. Literally searched playoff clinching scenarios, and it only gave
Yeah.
me three teams. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that means that. I guess
Yeah.
my
I
screen doesn't
think
show Detroit for whatever reason.
I
Well,
think
no,
the
right
Lions
now
could
it would be the
win in
head-to-head
both.
that we've lost. Like if we both finish with 10 wins, the Packers right now have the no, we split them actually. Never mind.
Yeah, I think that's why I think that's why Detroit can't clinch right now.
Yeah, it's
Is
the
because
head-to-head.
it's because the Packers are so close.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on. Reg, you
Fantasy football.
want to talk some fantasy football?
I mean,
Yeah,
we're running a
Rich.
little late, but anyways, we can talk.
Keep talking.
Well, no, like I was just wondering how you guys feel about fantasy football and how it may have changed the way that you watch football throughout the weeks and stuff like that. So I've actually converted fully to red zone, so it's definitely not impacting me near as much as it used to. But I used to basically like be so invested in games. I would have this player, and it's like all of a sudden I'm so interested in watching the Jacksonville Jaguars because I have Christian Kirk on my team. Where Prescott for
Dak,
MVP.
Dak.
Yeah, I don't know. I fucking hate Dak. But anyways, but yeah, like fantasy football, you're so much more, or at least me, I feel so much more invested in teams where I just did not care about them in the past. But I also try to avoid picking. It's funny. I've tried to avoid picking Bears, Lions, and Green Bay players because I don't want to cheer on NFC North teams other than the Vikings. So I'm just curious, like how you guys like approach fantasy football and if it impacts the way you view or how you feel about games that you're watching. So
I'll go first because mine's probably the easiest. It impacts my viewing of the NFL absolutely zero. It literally, if my starting team is playing against the 49ers, I don't care if I take the loss that week at all. I hope my team dies as far as I'm concerned. That's pretty much
oh
where I
yeah,
live.
yeah, yeah. I would rather
That's
my team lose, but like
I actually think this show it has had more impact on me watching different things about football than fantasy
fantasy.
football ever has. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I find
I
like
think if anything, for me, it's the opposite in the sense that like, much like how Rick said there, that I don't feel like fantasy football is how I cheer. I just sit there and I like to pick my favorite players. So if I can get a roster of the Lions, I'm going to do it in fantasy football because I don't really care that much about fantasy football. I care about the Lions winning.
Yeah.
see, I care about winning and beating you guys. That's really all that matters.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what?
Right.
You can.
I mean, when your team,
every
when your
week.
NFL team sucks, of course you've got to go on
Yeah.
something.
Oh,
You gotta have
You can
something,
beat me
right?
every week in
Brock.
fantasy football.
Rob's had the worst NFL team out of us for a long time, and they finally turned around. But yes,
The other day when they said
He's
that
pretty happy-go-lucky.
when they said they're talking about somebody had made a comment on the live feed about the last time the Lions won a game, blah blah blah, in the playoffs, that kind of thing. And Jen looked over at me and she's like, "Is that true?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah.
And I was like,
Poor Rob.
Hey, you know, I'm a ride or die.
You are. You know what? I'll give you that all day, man.
"Yeah."
True Lions
All right.
fan. You're like the only Lions fan I know that's that hardcore.
That 0-16 season. Oof.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. It's
How many
it's getting
almost
even-
additional 0-16 seasons did he have?
But you know
Like-
what? You know what the worst
Yeah.
part about it is the Lions sucked so bad for so many years that we couldn't even be the only 0-16 team in the league. We couldn't even beat the
true.
worst team ever. We had to share that with somebody else. That's how bad we suck at winning at something.
It's so funny.
It's like potentially the best wide receiver in our generation. And he's just like
you know?
Yeah, just
sat
wasted.
there. It's like,
And
Stafford leaves
Yeah.
and gets a Super Bowl.
fucking wild.
Yeah.
When
Stafford
Stafford left,
goes
I
get
was
the
like,
Super Bowl
oh,
as a
he's getting
bum.
that.
Oh,
that was the biggest
yeah,
slap in the
yeah.
face for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
What are your thoughts,
Stafford's leaving.
Luke, on fantasy football?
Fantasy?
What do you think?
I've been playing it a lot,
Yeah.
and it's informative for me. I enjoy fantasy football. I'm pretty easy going when it comes to watching games on the weekend. Case in point, the game this last weekend, I shut off after it started getting stupid.
Yeah.
Probably later in the fourth. And to Reg's point, I'll watch my guys. Sometimes I'll throw it on Red Zone. Sometimes I'll go watch a game that looks interesting to me, and if there's a player in there that I'm watching that's part of my team, even better. It just makes the experience a little better for me, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I just like football. I like football. I like the numbers. I like the hits, and yeah, that's why I'm here, man.
Yeah. And for you right now, it seems like you're having a lot of extra fun with your kids watching it, right? Like they're really getting into it, your boys. And
Yeah.
so that's an extra, that's a whole different
Really-
level, right? So
Yeah, man. Yeah, they've never really picked a sport like throughout life. Like they've always been interested in this and that, but this year in particular, they're watching every game every weekend.
yeah.
Troy's definitely an Eagles fan because his uncles out west are all big Eagles fans too. But Tyson, he started my oldest cheers for some of the Eagles games, and then he'll flip over and he's hemming and hawing on what he wants his team to be. So it's cool to
Yeah.
see that kind of experience developing.
My oldest, who is claimed to be a Niners fan, she sat and watched the second half of the game with me this weekend. So that was actually a first time for me.
There you go.
So other than going to live
Nice.
games with her, that was a cool experience. Yeah. So I guess the take on fantasy football is, it adds an extra layer for most of us in some way, but for the most part, it's still football. It's still business as usual, right? We all kind of,
We still want
take
our
our
team
own
to
little,
win.
we take our little things from fantasy football. It adds that extra little spice to it. And, especially when your teams are not doing well, it gives you something extra fun to play for every week.
For me, just to add on a little bit, it's kind of like putting together a couple fun little $5 parlays. It just makes even a bad game, it makes it so much better and it's $5. You know what I mean? Fantasy football, kind of the same idea. Oh, I don't like these teams, but it makes it a little bit more fun. One of my guys is playing.
Yeah.
At least for
Yeah.
me,
I find fantasy too, you learn more about the depth of some teams too, right? So like someone goes down, you're like, oh, who's the backup? And you're
I
learning
better,
about them and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Who's the
probably
backup
enjoy
man
fantasy
on
football
the
more if I
Jaguars?
was better at it.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
it's hard if
Yeah.
you're such. I find fantasy people, like, if they're really attached to a team in real life, like, and no offense, like you are, right? You're a Niners fan, ride or die. I find that sometimes affects what they do in fantasy because they play with their heart. I even did it this year. I should never have taken the quarterback I took because I'm a little superstitious like that.
Yeah.
I find that that's probably the biggest challenge of fantasy, is not being like biased to your own team.
Yeah, you're willing to take more shots too. Like, I was trying to tell people at the beginning of the year that to watch for Brandon Ayuk, right? Because I knew that he was coming up on his contract year. I knew, watching him play at the end of the season last year. So I took a shot on him where I could have been really wrong, right? The reality is he could have just dropped an egg this year and I would have looked like an idiot, right? But fortunately, it didn't turn out that way. But
I passed on Tyreek Hill. I took CeeDee Lamb. He's doing pretty good, but Tyreek Hill, it's just like, man, I passed on him.
If you take players you don't like on teams you don't like too, like whoever said it earlier, you learn about it too. CeeDee Lamb, there's a great example. You're like, who? Like unbelievable player this year, right? Do I want to say that? No, but in fantasy, it's friggin' amazing, and I want him on my team. Could I tell you who the tight end in Jacksonville is or his backup? No, absolutely I can't. If I had him on my team, though, I'd probably know a lot more about Jacksonville.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true. Okay, our NFL Week 14 preview. So we'll run through the games. We'll give our breakdown. Again, very fortunate to have Luke here with us, so we can break it up across the four of us. Thursday nighter, New England, the floundering New England Patriots, soon to be coachless, hopefully, New England Patriots, in town visiting Pittsburgh. And we went Pittsburgh across the board here, lads. I did lock in on them just because I'm trying to, after watching the Chargers Patriots game, really anything could happen in this one. But I figured this was a relatively safe lock. But I don't really have much else to say. I wish that Kenny Pickett was playing. I thought that he had some momentum. But we'll see. We'll see if they can hold the fort until he gets back.
I hate how bad Thursday games
Who's the
are.
backup?
Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky.
Last week was good.
Seattle
was a great game.
There's been a lot of really bad Thursday night games though, and I think it plays in part with the no flex kind of thing, right? Like they can flex some of the games into Sunday night and stuff like that, which makes it a little more exciting. But when this is the only game to watch on Thursday, it's just like,
or to do something
Thursday.
Else.
Take the night off.
Okay, we'll run through our parlays here. All right, just remember our parlays. So if you feel like betting, bet along with us. You'll probably lose money. We're not very good at this, but we will give you our parlays for the Thursday night games. So Reg, let us know what you got.
Patriots offense is terrible. Zappy has to fumble or throw an interception. I'm assuming Zappy's starting for New England, so I'm taking Pittsburgh defense anytime touchdown. And it's kind of a toss-up between Najee or Jalen Warren, who's gonna get the yards and the touchdown. And I went with Jalen Warren this week, so
probably be just one touchdown in the game too.
Yeah, exactly. And is Trubisky gonna throw a touchdown? Probably not. So it's like, obviously this gets bumped up big time by the Pittsburgh D getting a touchdown, but let's have a little bit of fun. Let's win a bit of money.
Sounds good. Win a little bit of money. All right, Rob. You really went out on a line here.
Yep. For some reason, I thought I had taken the
What?
Patriots. Well, I thought I had taken the Patriots. Anyways,
You took Patriots last.
so I looked at this game and I looked at the odds that were offered, and at one point there was only one QB odd offered, and I said, "Well, you know what? I'm just going to guess on the score, throw $1 down, and maybe it'll be exciting for at least a quarter or two."
Yeah.
I mean, 50-50, you're going to win either your parlay or your week pick this week. At
I know.
least.
For some reason, I thought I had the Patriots on my picks.
Maybe you did. Maybe there's always a possibility I screwed it up, but
I don't know.
yeah,
to be honest,
I'll
I
double
don't
check
know.
them later to make sure. But usually I just copy them right from what you send me. So
The Patriots have to
That's good.
score a touchdown to get that score, right?
yeah, they
So,
do.
I guess they could get two safeties.
Special teams.
and
No, the
two
special teams.
safeties.
Just return a kick or
And they gotta
something, right? Like
pull
that's
the
probably the
Steelers
only thing they can do.
scoreless, Like, I mean, if there is a
Jesus.
team to be held scoreless, I mean, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, I took under because Thursday night games suck. Under 30 total points. I took the tight end out of Pittsburgh, Freiermuth, because I follow the Penn State boys, and Freiermuth comes from Penn State, and I took Zappy with at least one interception. So
That under is, I think I heard this today. That is the lowest total points under in the last 30 years or something, since like 92.
yeah, and I'm all in on this. I'm jumping on this 2 feet. Yeah, I'm not missing the opportunity to jump on that one. So
It's crazy. So
yeah, it'll be the
and
one
yours was
time
it was under 30
under
or
30. Yeah,
30.5. Okay, yeah, because
I think it was.
saw
I
under
think it was. Oh, it
30.5.
might have been 30. It might be 30.5. I might have mixed it up. So
Okay.
either way, it's in that ballpark. Okay. All right. Game number 2, Carolina in town. So the NFC South, we've talked about how much they suck. And we went New Orleans across the board. I don't have anything really to comment on here. New Orleans is probably the stronger team out of the two.
could
Carolina,
win.
the only
Right.
team mathematically eliminated from the playoffs in the NFL right now.
They gave the Bucks a run for their money last week, and who knows, they could do the same for New Orleans this week. But
Yeah, but giving a run for the money in the South is like 2 junior teams playing football together.
agree,
I mean,
but
like
it could happen. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, you make
It's
each
a
other
weird
look
game
good
because
because
New
you're both
Orleans-
shitty.
Yeah.
They are in New Orleans, and this is why I keep taking them, because like a simple stat, but there's still a plus score for. So they have more points for than points against right now of anybody in that division, even Atlanta. And
Yeah.
they're sitting at third. This is a gimme for them. And you know what? If they're ever going to make a run out of anything, now's the time. Like,
Yeah,
start
they
here.
got to. You're right.
There you go.
Yep.
Derek
Anything, Rob?
Carr all the way.
Yeah, I would just be very surprised if Carolina did beat New Orleans. I think not long ago I mentioned that Taysom Hill would have a good game. I think this is another chance for Taysom Hill to have another decent game. Anyways, even if he gets 50 yards and a touchdown, I think that's a decent game for
That's a really
Taysom
good game.
Hill for what he does. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and I'm not saying he's going to get it, but if he's somewhere in that neighborhood, I think he does well. Yeah, New Orleans just because Carolina's that bad.
Yep. Yeah. Rams visiting Baltimore. Baltimore just coming off the bye week, right? Baltimore across the board here for the 4 of us. Rams playing much better football right now. I don't know that it's enough to beat what is definitely the best team in the AFC to me. Who knows? We'll find out in a couple of weeks whether or not they're the best team in the NFL. So, yeah, that's where I stand here. Yeah. Anybody else?
No, Baltimore beating.
Yeah.
Stafford.
Stafford tried to live
yeah,
for this.
Lock, really. Would have been probably could have locked that one.
Yeah.
It's
it's coming, Mike.
The same ones.
I
put that up.
think this game here though
Bitches,
is a
pussies.
game where you're hoping your fantasy football quarterback is Matt Stafford.
He
And
is.
I think he's going to have to put. I think that's what your hope is in relation to our
He is.
fantasy football talk earlier. So
Yeah.
there you go. There's
Yeah.
a pro to it.
Yeah.
Until he gets sacked 17 times.
Until he
He's gonna have to
dies.
put up
There you go,
Four
boys.
numbers. He's going to
interceptions.
have to put them up.
I'm excited for this
Yeah.
game, man. I'm excited for this. This is another big division
All right.
game for these two teams.
Here we go. Split down the middle, 50-50.
Man.
Indianapolis visiting Cincinnati. The burrowless Cincinnati Bengals.
Jake Browning with
yeah.
400
Good.
yards and like 2 incompletions. Like, how can you
When
not
when
ride
you've
that
got the
train?
receivers, man, they're there.
Just
Like
throw
you
it to
could, there's
Jamar,
people
it seems to work.
just toss the ball. Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like Cincinnati can win this game. Yeah, I think they still have the pieces. The problem, didn't the offensive line play better for Browning than they did for Burrow? Like, didn't they protect him the whole time?
Yeah.
Maybe they don't like Burrow. You know, maybe
Maybe it's
Burrow's
a
just
Burrow
too cool
issue.
for them.
Yeah, maybe.
He looked a
maybe it's
little
a-
What do you think, Rob?
You know what? I think that after the end of this game, Browning will be frowning. I do like the Indianapolis Colts. I think they are a better
Wah,
team,
wah, wah.
and with Burrow out, I think it's a much closer game with Cincinnati if they have Burrow. But I like the Colts, and I like them to keep it close, even if Burrow was in. So
So
Jesus.
I went with Cincy because Indianapolis did not deserve to go to overtime with the Titans after they blocked like 3 punts. They did so much to destroy the Titans, and they still ended up going to overtime with the Titans. And I'm gonna roll with the Browning train. Like, how can you not get on that train?
Sounds like you're rolling more against the Colts than you are with the with the
No,
Browning
no.
trade.
Yeah,
I
it's got a
mean-
little bias there, Reg. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm switching my Minshew mania into Browning mania. That's what it is.
There you
I'll
go.
tell you one
No
thing.
Browning.
One thing about
Turning
Burrow,
that
though,
frowning
is
upside
that-
downing.
Yeah, that's right.
Turning that was amazing. I find I was watching Burrow on the sidelines every time they showed him, and I couldn't help but think of Jay Cutler. And Jay Cutler had like the worst body language in the league. Like great, pretty good quarterback, but like just his body language was something else. And it seemed like
He's
Burrow
one of
was,
the
like,
nastiest
pouting.
shits that's ever been in the league. Like, really, as far as attitude
Yeah.
is concerned, possibly one of
And
the
I just-
worst ever. Right?
It just like it looked like Burrow was like he was by himself, and he's just sitting there like I don't know, man. It just didn't. It wasn't a good look. Yeah, it sucks to be out, but
Just-
when your team's up and winning, man,
Yeah.
be happy. Come on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think the Colts
Just make
are a
sure,
wild card.
just make sure to keep your receipts, Mike. Keep the receipts, bud. Keep the receipts. Get them later. I would. Don't worry. When the Vikings aren't in the playoffs, he'll yeah. Don't.
What's that?
He'll come
What are you gonna
crying.
say?
Yeah, he'll
Oh,
come
no,
crying.
I mean,
Okay. We got spicy. We'll move on. We got spicy here. Jacksonville and Cleveland. Rob and Reg decided to lock against each other here. So
Yeah.
Reg with the lock in Jacksonville, Rob with the lock in Cleveland, and Luke and I followed suit with Cleveland. And yeah, so Rob and Reg, sharpen your claws. Let's hear it.
go ahead, Rob.
No Trevor Lawrence. Cleveland's defense is still one of the top in the NFL. I think that's what puts them over the top.
Fair enough.
The defense
Is
wins.
Flacco going to play again?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Flacco is playing.
So I think Cleveland needs to win this game by running the ball a lot. Jacksonville is number 5 against the run in the league right now. They're doing pretty good in that sense. Whatever that guy's name is, CJ, whoever, he just needs to hand the ball off to ETN, toss the ball to Ridley every once in a while, Evan Engram. They'll get
Oh,
there.
Bethard. It's Bethard.
Yeah,
It's
CJ Beathard.
yeah, CJ
CJ
Bethard.
Beathard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
so
I
It's
gotta
a
find out
journeyman,
about
man.
Bethard.
It's a journeyman.
When Bethard went in, I was like, who's beat hard?
Beathard.
I'll never unsee that. My kids were like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, Bethard."
Who is beat hard?
the first play I seen with this dude getting crushed, and I was like, "Who the fuck is beat hard?"
Beathard.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm in
So
on beat hard.
it's obviously a must win for both teams. Jacksonville obviously has a little more wiggle room. I think we were just talking earlier about how Cleveland is like not great. But obviously with Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk going down, it is a tough one for Jacksonville. But I think this is where they need to show that they're an actual playoff contention team. They need to show their depth, and they need to
depth would be
pull out a
good
win.
here. If they could show depth, then they might be able to convert me. But it doesn't feel good.
We'll see.
Detroit in town visiting Chicago. Detroit beats the shit out of Chicago. If they don't, Detroit is definitely in trouble. Detroit needs to resounding win this game. Like beat the ever living hell out of them.
They played 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, Chicago can't score 30 points on Detroit this weekend.
And Chicago's coming off a bye.
They got to do it other ways.
Right?
They got to.
So
Detroit just has to stop giving up 35 points a game to bad opponents. Like they just have to. They can't go to the playoffs like that.
they let.
I always hate
I know the same problem.
My division rivals.
Yeah.
Because these are the games that the Lions lose.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
Playing my division rivals. It's games like this. I'm just like, man.
Yeah. Normally, I would absolutely agree with you, except for they're giving 35 points to every opponent, regardless of division.
Yeah. The Lions gave up 183 yards on the ground to the Bears last time they played. Justin Fields got 100, and then Deontay Foreman got the rest, kind of thing. Like I was kind of at a coin flip, but then it's like, come on, Reg, you can't pick fucking Chicago here. But yeah, I agree with Rob. Like this, who knows what's going to happen in the division rival thing? If you're giving up 30 points to every team, the Bears coming off a bye, maybe Fields makes something happen and starts crushing the Detroit Lions' dreams, and Minnesota Vikings start winning. But yes,
Rob, what do you think? We didn't give you a lot of chance other than the division comment there.
That's exactly how I feel. Out of all the games I play, I dislike playing my division the most because I don't know what's going to happen.
Sure. Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Man, the NFC South sucks.
These teams.
This is
puke emoji, man. Just that's
yeah. So we split it 50-50. Not surprising, right? You get into these games that just doesn't matter, and the teams are just not playing great football, and we just kind of flip coins, right? So Reg and Luke went with Atlanta. Rob and I went with Tampa Bay. I think the Tampa Bay is the stronger of the worst 4 teams in the Forest division, but I got nothing else. I have nothing cool to say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't have an argument for either team.
I really don't. Like nothing at all.
I wish I did.
I went with the home team in the dome,
I guess.
the
home team. That's a good argument. Tampa scores 13 points. Atlanta scores 14 every week.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Maybe
Ryan.
I took Tampa hoping that I would be able to get one of them games up on you guys. Right? That was one of them games I'm looking at going, okay, Atlanta's, they're at home. Maybe this is a game that I can be the only one.
Yeah. Sorry. I guess I screwed that up for you.
Oops.
Houston visiting the Jets. Houston across the board. The Jets are just barely trying to hold on right now. Obviously, the Jets have reopened Rodgers' practice window. Will he be back? Will there be a team there when he comes back? Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Zach Wilson starting.
Yeah, they had to convince him, though. He said no first.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not interested. Sorry, coach. I'm not going to play.
I think they've scored one offensive touchdown in the last 5 games. It was a Tim Boyle pass. So, the Jets are in trouble.
Yeah,
this very well could be the biggest slaughtering of the entire week.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it'll be fun to watch CJ Stroud go off on him. Seattle in town. We just had this game 2 weeks ago in town visiting San Francisco. So be in the Bay Area this time. We went San Francisco across the board. I really don't see anything much changing from the last time. It's probably, if anything, it'll be tougher being for Seattle being at home. So I think the home crowd will be happy to see San Fran coming back after the win last week. So I see a lot of energy in the stadium.
Yeah, and poor Gino's gonna get murdered, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what happened last time? Didn't he get sacked like 100 times or pressured 100 times?
Pressured, yeah, lots of
Yeah,
pressure.
he was.
They exposed the hell out of them, man. Like Seattle was on like a little run there, and San Francisco exposed them bad. Wasn't
I
even
think
close.
Yeah.
the Niners are just beating the hell out of everyone, but yeah, I don't see it changing much from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, there's nothing really to say there.
Oh,
No.
my God.
Minnesota,
They're
Las
1-0.
Vegas. There you go, Rob. There's your chance.
Got him.
Yeah, I hope they do. If they do, the San Francisco's in the playoffs.
I think too.
Yeah, you know what? Vegas isn't playing terrible football right now. I mentioned a few weeks back there how the running back Josh Jacobs had kind of fallen off, and he's starting to play much better now. And I think Jacobs is the key to them winning this game. And I also felt like this was a game that I could be the single. So
Yeah, I think it's a reality that I think it's a very possibility that you could score one here. So I don't really have anything to say. I just felt like coach changes does good, but I think that's kind of trailed off a little bit for them. I'm not really sure, but another game where I'm not sure that either team has made a solid enough case for me to be like, yes, that's them. So I just felt for some reason the feeling was to go with Minnesota, even though the Minnesota loss would help the Niners out.
Yeah, Vikings coming back from a bye week after that tough loss to Chicago. So hopefully fucking they figured out some of their issues and Joshua Dobbs can dob all over them.
I think everybody's growing their fucking eyebrows back by now. The Josh Dobbs experiment's starting to be over for some people.
Growing their eyebrows back. I think this is the game that Buffalo must win, and that's the mentality they have to walk in with this one. I don't think they're the better team by any means. It's just that must-win game that they have to get.
Yeah, it's a huge win. Yeah, this is a huge game. Huge game.
huge game.
Both teams really.
Yeah, both these teams need this game. Yeah. Okay. We're talking next week. We're talking about the loser of this game next week. Potentially, like Buffalo's already out of the playoffs, but Kansas City loses this one, and Kansas City's in danger of being out of the playoffs too. So,
especially if
like a Denver win or something, man.
Yeah.
There's some heat.
I think KC, after losing in Lambeau, has to come back home and win against Buffalo. But Buffalo's looked decent, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Kansas City's not looking great. Yeah.
These are all vets too, man. Like, let's not forget who we're talking about here. Like, these guys know how to win, and they're late season team, like hands down.
Yep.
Don't count them out, but big game.
Yeah. Speaking of Denver, is this the one, Reg?
Oh, this is definitely the one because when we're talking about the recap, we're like, the Chargers fucking suck. They put up 6 points against the Patriots. And I'm thinking the whole time, Denver's rolling, and Rick picked the Chargers. Like, what?
Remember when you shit on me last week too about the Green Bay pick, the Kansas City Green Bay pick, right? So, like, I mean, you got to take a shot every once in a while and see if you can come up with one. And so I thought, hey, why not shoot your shot?
Shit on you that bad about the Green Bay pick?
No, probably not.
I'm
making no, I did. I was like, I think you're outside your mind. I'm pretty sure I jumped all over you on that one. And I have to eat crow on it. So.
I did take LA here. I don't think the Chargers are very good. Denver could be the real deal. They went on a little bit of a run. I'd like to see. I like the Chargers team. I just they underperform so badly. But if they can score other than that Patriots game, whatever the hell happened there, if they, they can score points, anything can happen really. So I'm hoping that to slip one by on everybody here and see if I can come out with an extra win.
Yeah, and it's also a division game, right? And division games
Tend to be
always
anything.
always close. It seems like.
Oh no!
Wow, talk
Any
about
Eagles fan
jumping. Talk about jumping off. We
Let
all
me go
jumped
here,
off.
let me
We're
go.
all like, okay. It's all you.
No. I think every team goes through a losing streak, and I think the Eagles need to experience it sooner than later. They did not have the discipline to win a game last week.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, and now they're going to go play a hot Dallas team for their 4 wins in a row. And you know what? When you're winning like that, when you're playing at a high level and you're just crushing teams, everything's clicking, right? And we can't gauge if the Eagles are doing that because they're barely winning or getting destroyed. If the Eagles show up from the last 2 weeks, it's not going to go well for them. Dallas is running on all cylinders. Do I think that they have a chance all day? But this is a big test for Dallas. We talked about this last week. I think this is a big test for Dallas to take advantage of a Philly team that's got their tails between their legs, right?
Yep. Anybody else?
Eagles are the second worst for giving up passing touchdowns in the league, only behind the Commanders, or only in front of the Commanders, I guess. They've given up 27 TD passes this year, and they've only got 6 takeaways or 6 interceptions. And with the way that Dak and that offense is rolling, I think he passes this ball all over the place against them. I think it goes back to the same thing I was talking about last week with the Eagles. They need to control the ball and just implement their game plan and run and they need to keep the ball out of Dak's hands.
They need to stop the run too. That's another problem, and they can't stop the ball up the middle. They just signed, actually, Mike texted about Shaquille. They just signed former defensive rookie of the year as a linebacker. Will that help them? Yeah, it'll help them a little, but they have a hard time stopping the ball up the middle. And that touchdown from Debo, man, where he was gone. Right, CeeDee Lamb last time, they had the same plays you watched. They'll chuck it right up the middle on the Eagles all day and expose that area.
Yeah. So the Eagles D is you need to control the ball and keep the hands out of the Cowboys offense's hands, but I'm not too convinced that's going to happen. So we'll see.
I think in this one that Dallas is they have the potential to blow the top off and get a couple deep scores. And if Dallas gets up early, I think that their pass rush causes a lot of issues for Philadelphia in trying to come back in this game. So I think that Philly has to keep it close, or else it gets out of hand real fast.
I do think Philly's a better second half team. They always seem to look better in the second half. So if they can keep it close going into the second half, I think they can possibly win it. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I had if this game was played in Philly, I would have taken Philadelphia. Just looking at the Dallas, Reg can pull it up faster, but again, going back to the strength of opponent of the Dallas Cowboys up to this point, I think that you have to consider that in their success so far this year. And I think that this game is probably a lot closer than maybe we're giving Philadelphia credit for. And so I do think that Dallas edges this one out. I think that being at home and climate controlled, all that kind of good stuff is favorable for their style of play. Where if they were in Philadelphia and exposed to the elements, I think that would be a little bit more difficult for them. So I do slightly give them the edge here, but I'm definitely closer to being on the line between both teams than I am picking Dallas outright the way it looks here. So I don't actually believe this will be a blowout.
The spread is also the Cowboys only 3 points.
Yeah.
So It's very
I
close.
just think Philly's like going to be in a bit of a slump here for a bit until maybe they turn it around against Seattle. But I think they got some shit to figure out, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think like if I'm going to be scared of anything for this team, for my team, it's going to be landing in a wild card spot. I don't think that'll be healthy for them at all. They have to play.
Yeah, that's a difficult spot to be in for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so Green Bay visiting the struggling New York Giants. We have Green Bay across the board. Nobody wanted to go with DeVito here. Worried? What? I thought everybody liked
Tommy earned
DeVito.
it. I was just looking
Yeah.
to see who the quarterback
Screw
was.
the Giants.
Homeboy was back, yeah, but I guess they're sticking with
Oh.
Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, Tommy DeVito. Yeah,
Dayball says DeVito earned
that's
it.
right.
Yeah, one of the hottest
Giants
teams
are
against
trashed.
one of the terriblest teams. So
Terriblest.
Yeah.
Terrible.
yeah,
I
I
know,
know.
yeah.
I'm
The
making up words.
terrible. Yeah. I like it. I'm going to roll with the terriblest team of the Giants in the NFC East forever. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're rough. They're playing some rough football. I think Saquon's back this week. Or no, sorry, he wasn't. He was on a bye. They were on a bye last week. So that's what they do have in their favor is that they're coming off a bye. But Green Bay is the hotter team right now. What worries me, I always hate teams that play at MetLife. I feel like that turf there, it just injuries and things like, get out of here. Get out of here. She's throwing Green Bay stuff in my way. Yeah, she's throwing.
Hang that up.
Get
There
out of
you
here.
go. There
Yeah.
you go.
She hears me talking about them. I even picked them. Like, I don't know what you want from me here. I just I always worry teams playing at MetLife and getting towards the end of the season, injuries, things like that. I don't want to curse anybody, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about MetLife. It makes me nervous.
The Giants might be I think they're the second worst team in the league. I think the Patriots are the worst. I can't even believe I'm saying Carolina is better than these two teams, but yeah, the Giants are really bad. Really, really, really bad. So
yeah, really bad. Yep.
Green Bay is rolling, and if the Lions drop a game and Green Bay picks up a big win here, it's going to be interesting coming down the line. So
yeah, for sure. Okay. Tennessee visiting Miami. Miami across the board. Wow, we're just rolling with these four across the board, lads. Really don't see any concern here. Yeah, Miami should come away with this win at home. Tennessee is definitely not the stronger team on this on paper. Anything can happen on any given Sunday. Did you like the roller coaster TD celebration last weekend?
I loved it.
I fucking loved it too.
And you know what? You saw the offensive lineman kind of run
when he ran over. I was like, "What is he about to do?" And then when he did it,
it was like kind of like a dude throw the belt on. He was like, "Oh hell yeah!" And it was great. It was awesome. It's probably one of my favorite celebrations in a long time.
Yeah, it was really good.
Do we know why these two games are both Monday night, starting at the exact same time though? Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know. We're back into that bullshit what was it that they were doing at the beginning of the season? It was the same thing, right?
Yeah, but they were splitting. It was like a half hour. Like one started at 7:30, one was at 8:15 or something.
But this year,
time.
So this year, that's the first year they did that. Anytime that they played two games on a Monday night prior, they would do an East Coast and a West Coast game, and they would start them at different times.
Yeah.
Right. Remember we talked about it at the beginning of the season where you're like, I forget that there's a second game happening.
Yeah,
right.
well,
And I don't like it. I don't know why this is a thing right now. I mean,
not like I'm going to be interested.
Money.
You could just turn Red Zone on at least on Monday now.
Yeah, I don't even know if I don't think they run. Do they run Red Zone?
I don't think
they do anything like that.
They don't run it. I don't think they run it. They should though.
But
for people like us.
Yeah.
I'll be trying to dual monitor this one, unfortunately.
I'll watch Green Bay.
Well, it's just crazy that they're both starting at 8:15, right? Like the staggered field a little bit better because if you missed a bit, you could catch up on the other one during halftime. Like I'm not interested that much in the games. Like I think Miami, I probably watch the Green Bay one just because I want to see if I actually don't even care. I don't even care about either of these games 'cause I don't even think they're going to be close. But obviously, if it's close, I'll turn it on. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of sucks. I'm not very happy about it. So
Yeah. Listen, we got Dawn asking if we got any social media action. Yeah, we do have social media. Our social media manager, he's a little lacking. He was given one job on the show, and literally, I think for one game he was retweeting some stuff, and other than that, that was pretty much it. So keep encouraging him. If you keep asking, we'll keep giving him shit for it. And maybe one of these days he'll actually do something with it.
In all fairness, this year has probably been the least football I've watched in forever.
Well, you know what? Our viewers and our listeners probably think that's amazing that they're sitting here listening to a football podcast or a football show, and somebody's telling them that this is the least amount of football that one of the participants has watched.
There's just so much going on right now. You know, like a lot of but like a lot of what I'm doing is having to go back and like watch clips or stats or like actually being able to watch the games live.
Yeah, fair enough.
I haven't been able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Either way, you can Don, just to kind of answer that question, you can find us Special Teams Show on Twitter. We haven't dabbled into the Facebook or Instagram as of yet because we can't even handle the Twitter.
We can't even retweet.
If we ever get the Twitter part under control, then maybe we might actually get more viewers if we can start pumping stuff out. But yeah, either way,
we've been stuck on 21 subscribers on YouTube for way too long. Because
I just want to tell you, my daughter said that she was telling the football team at her school, and of course, here we are. They're watching us in class swearing. And they're like, well, which one's your dad? And so she shows them, and apparently they loved it. They were like, this is awesome. I'm like, oh no. Like, tell these kids, like, they're just starting to mold their brains. The last thing they need to do is listen to us.
Said about Mac Jones. Like, do not listen to the things we've said about some of these people.
We have no idea what we're talking about. Do not listen to us.
So the funniest part though about the whole social media manager.
Yeah.
The funniest part about the social media manager is I just went back in my text messages, and on Saturday, September 23rd, I got this lovely text message that said, "You guys want to start a weekly football podcast?" And that came from Rob.
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, that sounds sweet. Let's do it. Rob does about this much work every week for this. Rick does a lot, and I appreciate all that. But Mr. Social Media, come on, let's get it going.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. We can talk. We can give him shit on the sidelines. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening, for tuning in, for sitting here listening to 4 knuckleheads. 3 knuckleheads and Luke talk football. As always, we appreciate Luke showing up every week if he can and talking with us. It adds an extra nice little element to it. Otherwise, we do definitely appreciate all of you, all your time, and thanks for sticking around. Reg, close it out.
Like, comment, subscribe. We need more people on YouTube subscribing. Get that happening. If you want to listen to us, you can listen to us the next day on Spotify or Apple Podcast.
Yeah, share the show on your social medias. Just share it out there and we'll see what happens. Maybe we can get more people talking shit. This was good. Dawn out here talking shit with us was it was good. Yeah. It's a new voice out there.
Yeah.
And the one day where I was like aiming with my tail between my legs about Dallas being a fucker, and I ended up taking him. He jumps on here, eh?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He probably heard about Mike probably called him. Mike probably called him and said they are blowing up about Dak Prescott, and Rick is losing his mind right now about Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. And that's when Don jumped in and was like, man, I gotta tune into this, right? So
Don had to go make a fucking YouTube account and everything.
Yeah, he was like, what the hell is going on?
It was a good opening. It's a hard
all right, lads.
If we were wrestling, the crowd would have been going, holy shit, Holy shit. That's how good it was.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll
All
leave
right.
it at that. Thanks everyone for coming
Share us around,
on.
guys. Get us some more
Please do.
viewers.
All right.
Talk
See ya.
soon. See you.